In 1955, a terraced house in Britain cost about £1,800, with a neat garden, a coal shed, and neighbors who knew your name. Today, that sum wouldn't even cover a deposit on a tiny flat, but back then, owning a home felt like a true achievement, something to hand down without decades of mortgage worries. Petrol was 3 shillings a gallon. A couple of quid filled your Triumph Herald and still left change for fish and chips. The garage man, always in oily overalls, topped up your oil, wiped the windscreen, and waved you off. No self-service, no cards, just service with a chat about the weather or the weekend's match. By 1959, the Mini was Britain's pride, small, clever, and nippy. Families piled in for trips to the coast, singing with the windows down, while American gas guzzlers looked clumsy beside it. If you had one, you weren't just driving. You were part of a new British era. The corner shop was the heart of every street. With a few pence, kids left with sherbet lemons, Beano comics, or Woodbines for Dad. Mrs. Jones behind the counter knew every order. Butter, bread, and gossip about the neighbor. A polite "thank you" might earn an extra toffee. When rationing ended in 1954, Britain went sweet mad. Shelves overflowed with Gobstoppers, Cadbury Flakes, and aniseed balls. Mums warned, don't eat them all at once, but kids ignored them. After years of rationing, it was like freedom itself. The red phone box stood on every corner, bright, heavy-doored, always in use. You queued with coppers to call a cousin or whisper to a sweetheart. Sometimes you knocked impatiently if someone lingered too long. For many, it was more than a phone. It was connection, even romance glowing in the night. Sunday lunch anchored the week. Roast lamb, Yorkshire puds, spuds and gravy, and blancmange after. Nan knitting, Granddad puffing on his pipe, Dad carving with pride, Mum serving veg, kids squirming under the table. Noisy, messy, but pure family life. The milkman's float hummed down the street at dawn, bottles clinking as he left them at the step. Kids in pajamas dashed out to peel the foil cap and sip the cream. Sometimes there was a note from a neighbor. I owe you eggs. It was reliable, fresh, and part of every morning. Every child dreamed of a Raleigh Chopper bike. High handlebars, sturdy frame, and endless adventures. Hauling mates, playing nights, or blasting off to space in your imagination. Scraped knees were badges of honor, and riding without stabilizers was a rite of passage, cheered by the whole street. The wireless was king. The Archers filled homes with drama, hymns lifted spirits, and the kettle whistled while bacon sizzled. Dad flipped through the radio times, Mum stirred her tea. Life was steady, safe, and wrapped in warm voices from across Britain. Television was still a wonder. In 1953, the Queen's coronation brought whole streets into one living room. Black and white screens flickered, tea sloshed, and silence fell as Elizabeth was crowned. Kids perched wide-eyed, Granddad wiped a tear. It wasn't just TV, it was history at home. Cinema was escapism. For a bob, you got velvet seats, a Kia Ora orange squash, and a Pathé newsreel before the main feature, an Ealing comedy or a Hammer horror. You left buzzing, replaying every twist on the walk home. Rock and roll changed everything. The Beatles exploded in '63, Cliff Richard and the Shadows filled kitchens with rhythm, and teens spun 45s on their dance set players until the grooves wore thin. To parents, it was noise. To teens, it was freedom. The first motorway, the M1, opened in 1959. Before that, road trips meant folding maps on your lap, tartan flasks of tea, jam sandwiches and engines coughing on moorland roads. Breakdowns weren't disasters. You waved down a lorry driver, shared a fag, and carried on. Kids owned the streets. Hopscotch, chalked on pavements, conkers on strings, British bulldog, and endless football until the lamps lit. You came home filthy, hungry, but brimming with stories. And Friday nights meant the chippy. Golden cod, fat chips wrapped in newspaper, vinegar dripping through the paper onto your fingers. The cue was gossip, banter, and the taste of home. Lyons tea rooms were the height of sophistication. You'd perch on a chrome stool, sipping frothy coffee or lemon squash, eyeing cakes under glass domes. A waitress in starched apron knew your usual. Chelsea bun, duck? A pause from the rush, a spot for daydreams and gossip. School days meant the clang of the bell and the smell of chalk dust. Blackboards wiped clean with felt erasers, ink wells filled with blot-prone ink, and Mrs. Hargreaves' glare that froze playground riots. Lessons weren't just facts. They were discipline and a foundation for life. The launderette was a weekly ritual. Mums hauled baskets into rumbling twin tubs with Dad's powder, swapping stories over a vending machine cuppa, while ringers squeaked like old gates. Sheets came home smelling of soap and sunshine, pegged on the line to flap in the breeze. Doctor Who whooshed onto screens in '63, a blue police box bigger inside than out. Kids peeked from behind cushions as Daleks shrieked, "Exterminate!" William Hartnell's stern doctor sparked dreams of adventures beyond the garden. Saturday evenings became family huddles, popcorn forgotten. The greengrocer's stall was a riot of colors and scents. No plastic packs, just earthy spuds, crisp carrots, bundles of greens tied with string. Mr. Wilkins weighed veg on brass scales, tossing in a spare onion with a wink. "For the stew, love?" The ice cream van's chimes were a summer battle cry. Kids dashed out with threepence for a 99 flake or rainbow screwball, sticky chins dripping in the sun. No one fretted about calories. It was joy on a stick, the sound of holidays on a rainy estate. Chores built character, polishing the doorstep, fetching coal for the fire, scrubbing lino floors with elbow grease. Granddad, arms like oak from shipyard years, chopped logs better than any modern gym lad. Work was exercise before the word existed. The first cash point arrived in '67 at Barclays Enfield. Punch in your code, out popped a crisp tenner. The future in your hand. Strangers whispered, "Did you see that?" It was money on demand, a miracle in a high street branch. Package holidays bloomed in the swinging '60s. You'd board charter flights in suits and floral dresses. None of today's tracksuits. Spain felt like paradise. Beaches, sangria, and real China meals on board. A suitcase, adventure, and 2 weeks of freedom. The butcher shop was a carnivore's heaven. Old Tom, sleeves rolled up, cleaved pork with thwacks, wrapping sausages in paper tied with string. "Here's a marrow bone for the dog," on the house. Freshness and banter. No cellophane trays in sight. Banks closed at 3 sharp. Miss it, and you were skint till Monday. Passbooks were stamped with thuds by bespectacled tellers. It taught patience, penny pinching, and the slow pride of savings that grew bit by bit. The mini-skirt revolutionized Carnaby Street. Mary Quant's design, bold, short, unapologetic, paired with Sassoon bobs and go-go boots. Parents called it scandalous, but it screamed liberation. Women owning their style in a swinging Britain. Kids invented empires from scraps. Jam jars stalked tadpoles. Boxes became castles. Broomsticks hobby horses. Halloween was a bin liner cape sewn by Mum. a carved Swede lantern, and a pillowcase of monkey nuts. Trick or treat, more plea than threat. The FA Cup final was a national heartbeat. Streets crowded round black and white tellies as Wembley heroes fought it out. You'd cheer, groan, and share rich tea biscuits. Win or lose, it was folklore, football binding us in shared glory. Milk bar jukeboxes were time machines. Drop a sixpence for Cliff Richard or the Shadows. Vinyl crackling, milkshakes slurped through striped straws. Teens danced in duffel coats. Mums smiled from doorways. The world felt endlessly young. The Eagle comic was every boy's weekly Bible. Dan Dare battled aliens. Cutaway diagrams fueled dreams of Spitfires and submarines. Issues were swapped at bus stops, read under torchlight, sparking rocket-fueled imaginations. The hovercraft skimmed the channel in 1959, the SRN-1 buzzing across like a flying saucer. Passengers whooped, salt spray in faces, ferries looking quaint below. Britain wasn't just rebuilding, it was floating into the jet age. Grannies were knitting ninjas. From a ball of Woolworths wool came Fair Isle jumpers, scarves, even tea cozies shaped like crowns. Holes and blazers were darned by tea time, Nantucket, waste not, want not. Love woven into every stitch. The high street chemist was a cure-all. TCP stung cuts, Vicks cleared noses, and discreet brown bags solved ladies' troubles. Mr. Patel mixed Kalin and morphine for tummy upsets, stern but kind. 3 times a day, no sweets. Playgrounds were joy and risk. Slides scorched thighs, swings pumped sky high, seesaws launched you into grit. Knees grazed, plasters slapped on, and back you went. No bubble wrap, just scars as badges of honor. The 60s unleashed pirate radio. Carolyn blasted stones and kinks from a North Sea ship, dodging the BBC. Parents fumed at interference. Kids tuned in under blankets, feeling rebellion's pulse. It was raw, unregulated, and ours. Woolworths was every town's bazaar. Pick and mix counters gleamed. Toys and cheap records filled baskets. A penny stretched into treasure, leaving with a paper bag of dreams. And the postman's knock came twice daily. Letters scented with lavender, postcards from Skegness. Wish you were here. Stamps collected in albums became tiny windows to far-off worlds, each envelope a saint. No, Spangles sweets were a pocketful of paradise, that crinkle of paper as you unwrapped one. Fruit, mint, or Old English barley sugar. Sucked slow, it lasted half an hour. A secret treat during sermons or long bus rides. The empty tin became a treasure chest for marbles or coins. Buses were rolling community halls. The clippy ticket machine clattering called "Fares, please," as you handed over a tanner for the pictures. He punched your ticket with a K-chunk, warned, "Hold on tight," round corners, and knew every face on the route. The first Tesco self-service in '58 felt like tomorrow. Trolleys rattled over lino, shelves groaned with Spam and peas. No more haggling at counters. Efficient, exciting. But you missed the grocer's banter. Progress meant less soul in shopping. Teachers commanded awe. Miss Thompson's stare silenced a snigger mid-breath. You stood when she entered, chorused, "Good morning." Tie straight. The cane lines, detentions, harsh but shaping. Respect bloomed. She taught more than sums, resilience. The park was your wilderness. Swings creaked, ducks quacked at the pond, roundabout spun till you staggered. You came home muddy, pockets full of conkers, ready for bread and dripping at the table. National service meant 2 years in khaki. Camps in Catterick or Aldershot, stripping a Bren gun blindfold, boots polished to mirrors. You came back tanned, full of tales, mates forged for life. There were dances, too, kisses at the NAAFI, Boys Turned Men. The Festival of Britain in '51 was post-war pep. The Skylon towered silver, domes showed radar and robot dogs. Families queued for the Dome of Discovery, buzzing despite the rain. Britain declared, "We're battered, not beaten." The co-op was more than a store. Your dividend number meant a few bob back, spent on a kettle or buns from the bakery. Bakers slid current buns from the oven. Divvy books checked like lottery tickets. WI meetings glued villages, jam contests, flower arranging, debates on new halls over endless PG tips. The WI calendar marked births and wakes, a sisterhood of scones and secrets. The first tea vending machine in '56 was revolutionary. Coins clinked, water gurgled, out came a milky brew in a cup. No trolley queues, just a quick slurp before the 8:15. Cricket on the green was summer's rhythm. Whites gleamed, willow cracked leather. Tea ladies bore cucumber sandwiches. You sprawled on grass with Tysa, cheering your dad's side or the vicar's googly. The breathalyzer arrived in '67, but before that pub crawls were legendary. Lock-ins, pints pulled under the counter, sing-songs at the piano. The bag and tube test changed things, but toasts to friends remained. Bonfire night blazed with tradition. Straw-stuffed guys, fireworks fizzing, rockets and Catherine wheels lighting frosty skies. Parkas zipped, toffee apples crunched, air sharp with gunpowder and ginger wine. Dryers arrived in laundromats in the '60s. Coins in, clothes whooshed warm and soft. No pegging in gales. Mums sighed relief. Kids danced in fresh sheets. Roller skates clattered on pavements. Key round your neck, clamps tightened, arms windmilled as you zoomed. A tumble, grazed palms, then laughter and another go. The Blue John caves drew families. Torches lit stalactites. Cold air whispered of floods past. You emerged blinking, pockets of fool's gold in hand. Christmas meant pantomimes. "Oh, no, he isn't," kids roared, booing villains, guffawing at saucy dames. Finales brought everyone singing, scarves waving, hearts full. Life was simpler, stitched with trust. No Wi-Fi or pins, just latchkeys under mats. Milkmen trusted. Bobbies sorting squabbles. Kids played hopscotch in unlocked streets. Neighbors popped round with sugar. It wasn't perfect. Ration shadows lingered. Winters bit hard. But it was ours. A Britain of back-to-backs and bonfires, where community wasn't a buzzword but the way we lived.